Hey guys, I have a camera on my head today, and we're gonna turn this Super 73, well, it's in pieces right now. We're gonna turn this bike into a 72 volt monster. So first let me introduce the kit. This kit is the Cheese Moto Works 72 volt kit for the Super 73 ZX. So it will only work with the ZX. I'm planning on making maybe an RX kit in the future, but only for the ZX for now. First, in the center here, we have the battery pack. It's 72 volt, 30 amp hour. It also, when it ships to you, it will come with the battery mount already attached, so it's more compact. This is the 5 amp charger. It's a standard outlet. Right here is the 5 kilowatt motor. So it's pretty heavy. It'll come with the cassette. It won't come with the rotor. And yeah, it looks like that. And then you will get a bag with some screws and hardware. One of these bags right here, this is for the battery mount. This is a new dropout, and these are for the motor. This is the controller. It comes in a nice, sleek 3D printed case and screws into the frame. This is the reverse mode switch, which turns the reverse mode on and off. This is just the standard surround throttle. This is what I will be using. It should come standard with all kits. Just the surround throttle, it could be the carbon one or the black one. Here, this is the display. It says SW900. You have the mode switch here, and it just connects to the controller. Also, a big feature of this kit is this right here. You might not know what this is, but this is a key that once you click on at the controller, it will turn your motor to 750 watts and top speed to 20 miles per hour. So it will turn it completely street legal. That is a secret to being a sleeper and not being impounded, not being arrested. And you can just turn it off by using the same switch. Let's go inside and look at the other part choices you have to make for your bike. Oh, I've already been riding this thing. It's crazy, but this is a Lewis Tech EP6. These are available on my website for like the cheapest price in the whole nation. These are like the strongest brakes I've ever used. I tried moto brakes, but moto brakes on this bike after it's built is like under 100 pounds. That is way too strong. So with one of these, you will have modulation, but if you press it harder, you will get all the strength that a moto brake has. For my front brake, I will be using one of my SRAM Mavens from the E-Ride. Reason I'm using this is I don't want to put one of these big fat brakes on the front because it's kind of wasteful. This wheel isn't your standard ZX wheel. If you look in the center here, it has a through axle hub with some custom spacers so it could fit. And if you look on my Super 73, that fork is not stock. That is a DNM fork from my website. And if you order it with the hub, it will come with one of the hubs just like this, and you could take it to a bike shop to swap it out or anything. They won't charge you that much. And the rotor that's on here is a 180 millimeter Lewis Tech rotor with the nice Lewis Tech bolts. The tires I'll be putting on today are Shinko SR567. It's a front scooter tire, but we could use it for the front or rear. Okay, so let's start with the build. The first thing you should do when working on a Super is to flip it upside down. Because of the cranks, you can't put it on like a bike stand, like a Surround. So flip it upside down. The things I still have on this bike, I haven't taken it all apart because I don't want to. The forks already on. The triple clamps, doing triple clamps is like my worst nightmare, so I'm not taking that off just for this video. But forks are pretty easy to put on. All you have to know is the headset. You have to get like a little adapter for the because the stock headset is tapered, but the fork isn't. So you just have to get the butt close little adapter bearing to put it on. One of the dropouts are still on here. So yeah, let's talk about the tools you need for this job. Standard, you should always have a full set of Allen keys. They're messy because I just took the bike apart. Okay, you need a full set of metric Allen keys, not the American ones. And you need a full set of Torx Allen keys. I also have a torque wrench and an impact, but if you don't want to, you don't have to use an impact at all. And another very important thing is Loctite. If you don't Loctite any of your bolts, they will fall out due to the vibrations. Everything will fall out and you'll probably crash and die. I forgot to show you this. This is the rear fender for the that goes onto the battery. So this is a pretty cool thing. And I have a full socket set, but you really only need a 21 and a number 10 socket right here. This is a number 10. So you need these two sockets, and that's about it. You also need a bunch of zip ties, which I do have a ton of zip ties. You need a rubber mallet, which I can't find mine. Oh, it's right here. This is useful to force things in without damaging your beautiful bike. Okay, let's get started. Okay, with the bike flipped upside down, the first thing we're gonna do is attaching the motor. But first, we have to do the very annoying job of the tires. I'm gonna just put in the tire first. Let the air out. Get the direction of the tire right first. This is the brake side, has a rotor. Usually you would take the rotor off before you install the tire. I probably should. Yeah, you know what? I will. Gloves on, so I'm okay. The bolts you use on the rear wheel for these rotors are very important, because you see how the wheel or the motor cable or the phase wire, they just come out of the motor, out of the axle. So if you had those huge bolts like I have on that front wheel, you will destroy your motor cable. So you have to probably get these are really low profile, so they won't damage the motor cable. Okay, see, you can hear all those spacers falling out. So I'll just take the rotor out of the phase wires. Yeah, you can see all these little spacers on here. First step is to get the bottoms through. Usually people put the tube in second, so I'll do that. You're gonna hold that side down while you put the tire on. Usually some baby powder will help, but I ran out. Or just a little press. We'll take the tire in. Make sure that's like perfect, and then I'm gonna get that valve stem to go in finally. Hopefully I can do that. So you get the tube in there, in between the tire and the rim. Here's the valve stem. Okay. Oh yes. So I have 2 tire levers, only 2, which will make it harder. And I got this bottle of soapy water all over the rim, the bead, which is this part that is supposed to be inside. Okay, and to insert your tire levers, you want to move it around and make sure you're not on the tube and you won't pinch it. Just put your knee on here so it doesn't move. Oh, that took so long. And look, Supermoto's on, and these are super hard. I'll probably never have to change tires again until I sell the bike. Okay, first one down. Let's take off the rotors for this. See, these bolts, if you buy the Lewis Techs, they have these really nice bolts. If you want the Tannis armor, I'll sell that on my website. I'll also put that on like Facebook Marketplace or eBay. I have a section on my website where it's just used parts. Yeah, if you want something, I have surround shocks, I have like brakes, I have some Dior XTs on there. If you want something that you don't want to pay full price for, you could just take a peek, and then if it's there, you could get a pretty nice discount for it. And all the pictures are just exactly how the product are. I'm not using like a different picture, like scamming you, because I'm not an Indian scammer. The rotation is this way, and the rotor is always on the left, so we gotta put it in this way. They're not as easy as any other tire. Probably the hardest tire you would ever do, other than like full dirt bike tires, like 16-19 wheel side I have for that. That's pretty hard. And like those 10-inch Supermotos, those are like the hardest. For this one, I'll fully record and show you how hard it is, but the motor wheel is the hardest. You can kind of scoot the whole tire back in, so it's easier to put the rest of it on. You just start working through it. I mean, compared to like, if you have this situation where you can't stick a tire lever through, what I do is carefully take a small screwdriver, just put it in there, create a small enough gap for the flat side to go through. You kind of just keep stretching it more and more, okay? And then now you just push this into there. You can take that out. Let's get down to the edge, or get onto the rim. Oh, that was easy. Now we're gonna install the rotor, which you're gonna take out your Loctite for this one, okay? So you shake up your Loctite so it's all nice and thick. Take it out, push it up, and then you just drip some into the, only a little bit, okay? Drip Loctite into the holes. The reason I do that is if you put Loctite on the bolts, it basically just gets stuck between the rotor and the bolt. It does not even go inside of the wheel or the holes. So on the Lewis rotors, it'll tell you the pattern you should tighten the bolts in. Even if you don't have markers on your rotor, you should still tighten it in a star pattern. So if you're not able to take apart like a whole bike and put it back together, I say, yeah, with the video, I say you'll be able to do it with some help from like someone who knows more about bikes. But this is not an easy project. Even if it's all plug and play, it's not that easy to convert a whole bike like this and, you know, build it completely from scratch, like as if you're in the factory. You will just have to know about a lot of things you'll know only from just like having experience, you know. Okay, axle is in now. Let's get a number 5 Allen and secure the front. Where's my number 5? So yeah, this is why you get 2 Allen key sets. So if you misplace one of them, you can just go grab the other one. Dude, how is the number 5 missing on this one too? There's no way. I think, oh, it's right here. Ooh, thank you. Found my number 5. Oh, I'm messing up the threads by doing that, bro. I'm so stupid. I was trying to get the axle to come out a little bit so I could tighten that. And you tighten one side of the axle. I kind of just do that, the pinch bolts fully. I'll go to the other side and put the cap on, screw the cap on. This front wheel is like really heavy now. It should be really good for, you know, being a good gyroscope and a wheelie. This is just the bag I got from ordering bolts. And in your kit, it'll come with both of the dropouts actually. So, with both of the dropouts, you only need, you can keep the stock one that with the brake adapter. You really only need the drilled one on this. So because the axle is bigger than stock, I machined it out for every order. Okay, now before we put the motor on, we're gonna have to put the rotor on. Remember how I told you guys you need the little spacers for the rotor? These will be included in your kit. These right here. So we do just put it on like that. See, this is the result of using really tall bolts. So it just wore through my entire phase wire. And down here too. Take 1 or 2. I'm just gonna use 2 because you need 2. You put them on the needle nose like this, and I should have done this before the needle nose part. You put the bolt. This is the trick, okay? Put the bolt, pre-put the bolt on the Allen key, hold it, and then 2 washers on the needle nose, and you just feed it under. I'll put it up close to the camera. 2 washers in between the needle nose. Okay, just like that. And then hit the bolt. We'll do the other side this time. Line it up and then just put the bolt through. And then thread it in so it doesn't move around. See, you still have a lot of play in the rotor. I have a Talaria rotor on here. The rotor is really low profile. What that means is it's not like a floating rotor where there's like things sticking out, so it won't really cut up the motor cable. So like when you're choosing your parts, you just have to choose, especially on your rear wheel, you have to choose the rotor and the bolts to not damage your motor cable. That is the #1 thing you have to watch out for. So again, needle nose through the bottom, line it up, and just put the bolt through. But having rotor bolts, this little spacer might not look like it's a big deal, but it protects the motor cable a lot. So you want to put that on the rotor side. and then get behind. Okay, now we're putting on the rear wheel, okay? Get behind the bike, make sure the chain is nicely on here, and then make sure the spacer is there, and then put the dropout on the right way. Okay, I'm blind. Okay, now in one motion, we're gonna lift it up. I'm gonna put this side into this dropout right here, and then I'm gonna put this side, this rail right here, into this rail. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's at the bottom. It kind of just dangles here, and then you just gotta fiddle with it until you hear that snap. That's how you know the dropout is in the rails, and hold it there with one of your hands while putting in that dropout bolt. Oh. Okay, now is a good time to put your chain on. If you didn't position the chain the right way before you put the wheel on, tough luck, you have to do it again. Okay, and for this kit, we will not be putting a derailleur on here because you will not be pedaling, trust me. These pedals are just a display to the police. So the stock SUPER73 ZX wheel has a 16 tooth, which the second gear on the free wheel here is also a 16 tooth. So we just put it on there and just leave it. Snug these up first. And tighten these really hard. You do not want these to come loose. You will probably die. Okay. Once the dropouts are tight, next step is to load up the side of the wheels with these colored spacers and nuts. Okay. You will notice you will have 2 of these spacers with the little tabs. Choose the one where the tab is the most bent. For example, this one, you will put it onto the rotor side with the tab going into the dropout, into the gap in the dropout. And then that side is done, so we just put one of the nuts on there. Okay, and then on the freewheel side, take spacer without the tab first, put that on there, and then put the spacer with the tab on there, just like that, and then the nut. There isn't really a specific torque spec you want to torque this at, but I don't even know if my torque wrench is accurate. But I'm just using this to wrench it down because I don't really have another wrench. Okay. Also, put this bolt in. This is to lock the dropout in case this loosens because you didn't tighten it enough, and so your wheel doesn't just come off. Okay. Oh, that's already 30. No way that's 30. That's not tight enough. Your wheel has to be really, really tight, okay? Okay, that's probably tight enough. Make sure to spin it, no resistance, and look at the motor cable it's not destroying the motor cable, and we're good. You want to get tons of zip ties. You want to like grab a handful. This is it's not that much, but I just don't want that much of a mess. Okay, now you're gonna start zip tying the motor cable. The first one is going to be right here. Okay, first one is gonna be right there. Actually, you might want to put your rear brake caliper on here first and manage the cable together with the motor cable since they're so close together. I'll get some new brake pads for the Lewis. These look good. And I'll put my Lewis on the rear. But first, swap the brake pad. Yeah, these pads are pretty done. I think even that will be overkill for a Super like this. Bolts to the other side. Yeah. Feed the lever through here. Yeah, I need spacers for the front, so for the front I have 3 little spacers and this big 220 spacer. Okay, and then goes the first brake bolt, and then second one is just a regular 220 spacer. Oh, spin it, make sure it doesn't rub. I mean, it will rub. Big brakes like these, they will rub, but if it's on the rear wheel, it doesn't really matter. But don't tighten that yet until you've flipped the bike around and aligned the caliper. Starting your cable management just as you're building it, so it's not such a big headache once you're done. Okay. Ow. That zip tie just like slapped me. Right here, what this is the pedal assist sensor. I will not be putting, we don't need pedal assist on these bikes because it's so strong. And if you accidentally pedal, you will probably kill yourself. I'm not even joking. With the sensor, the motor cable will go right there, and the brake hose will go under the motor cable and come out over here. And tie the sensor with the brake hose. Just cut all of these. Now you just want to take a peek. See, nothing is rubbing on the rotor. Your brake hose won't get rubbed off and explode. And now, if you have both of the wheels on, you are ready to start putting on the controller. Let's go get that. So the controller will come in a 3D printed case just like this, and it will come with some Phillips screws on the side. And it will go exactly where the stock controller went. If You might have to bend this little piece out. It was originally for the tail light. You might have to bend that out with an adjustable wrench to fit this inside. If it got bent before, you should be okay. So you want to take all the bolts out. And then just put the controller through here, and then make sure none of the wires are left behind, especially this one right here. This is the reverse switch, so I'm gonna put that in there so it sits nicely. It kind of sits on the little cable, on the little hose, what's it called, on those little things. I forgot what it's called, but you just have to find where the holes are and screw it in with the screwdriver. These don't have to be really tight. Don't tighten it all the way until, see, I want to loosen this one a little bit. Get this one in. Let's go loosen this one. Loosen these two. Actually, tighten this one. What is it doing? So, really, since the welds on the super frame aren't too accurate, you might only be able to get like 3 of these bolts in. But if you can get 3 of these bolts in, then you're all good, because 3 is enough to hold it in place, really. Now, let's connect your phase wires. So we have yellow, green, and blue. You just want to color match it. I just realized my head is inside the cranks. Whoopsie daisy. I'm sorry. Match the colors. Okay. And one of these, you have to find out which one you need to use. Okay. So I know which one because the one that's clean on the inside is the one that's been plugged in. So if the wrong one is plugged in, the motor will cut out if you full throttle, and it will just have a bunch of issues. So if you're experiencing motor issues, it's probably because you plugged into the wrong cable. Okay, once you have your phase wires plugged in, we can get to installing the battery. So I use my impact driver to put the battery on, but I really recommend you use a wrench, just so you don't over tighten these bolts, because they are on plastic. So if you over tighten these, you will have some issues. So you might be asking, why is it all in plastic? Isn't it gonna be weak? If you don't know a lot about 3D printing, the reason it is weak is because people print them in the wrong orientation. 3D prints are weak only from the layer lines. As you can see, I don't know if you can see from the layer lines, they can rip open on themselves. But this way, this will not come off. This will not come off. I crashed like really bad a few weeks ago, and I hurt my leg really bad, and the battery case was completely fine. And now you're thinking, well, what if the mount just comes off, or is the mount strong enough because it's only plastic? So you might be looking at this mount, and it's 2 pieces, and you open it up, and the inside is 2 stainless steel metal rods, so it'll make sure this is solid and will not come off. So it's inserted into here, and this will just close together. In your pack of bolts, you will have this little bag of bolts and 4 washers. There will be 4 bolts and 4 washers. This is for the battery mount. So you take one of these extended bits. I put it on the impact because I'm just really tired, but you should really hand tighten these. If you're using an impact on bike parts, you should put it in the lowest mode or mode 1 so you don't strip anything out or damage anything. So remember that Loctite and drip that into every bolt hole. Oh, that sounded weird. Now get the bolts out. Put one into the washer. Line this up to here. Should fit perfectly. Make sure there are no wires getting stuck under the mount. See, that's already on. I will do the first one is this one, and then I will do this one so this one won't slide anymore. So the battery is removable, but it's a pretty annoying process to get it off. It's kind of like the Talaria XXX, where you have to like flip the bike or put it on a stand, and you have to I'm just gonna snug that up with the mode 1 of the impact. Have construction the Loctite. It will prevent these bolts from coming out. Okay, now it's time to put on the battery. But first, grab a screwdriver and your little rear battery fender, and this is how you attach it. Okay, it's a dovetail, right? Slide it in just like that. So it's in the middle. Make sure it's in the middle, and you just tighten that bolt. It will get hard at the end because you've reached the end of the hole. The bolt will stick out a little bit like this, but that's not a big deal, right? That's just so it won't move left and right again. And this will block off any water from the tire here to shoot up. That will shoot up. And then just want to take the battery. You're normally supposed to do this from the other side. Don't pull hard on the fender because you probably break it. It's only supposed to be there as a fender, not as a grab handle. Take the mounting plate, slide it in, okay, and tighten. Okay, again. Okay, feel that little indent with your finger. It should be only a small indent like that. See, if it's loose like this, that's no good. You need to tighten this more. Not too tight though, because you will break it, okay? Just like that. And move all the cables so they're under the fender, protected by the fender. And then the charge port and the on-off switch, you want to put to the brake side through this little gap to the brake side. Okay, now that you've gotten your battery on, your controller on, and your motor on, everything is tight. Now we're gonna move on to the handlebar and wire managing. So now is a good time to flip the bike back over. It will be hard since you don't have your rear brake attached to your handlebar yet. But just try to set it down gently, as gently as possible. But you have the forks, it's probably fine. Okay, alright, the next step after you flip your bike over is to put your brakes on. Only the rear. So the Lewis tech can just slide through here. I don't know about other brakes, but the Lewis fits. And just put that in on the bars. Next step, we're gonna put on the display and mode switch. Everything on this should be a 3mm. I already have the spacers on here because I forgot to take them off, but you need to put these rubber spacers on the handlebars. Oh my god. On the handlebars. And then just take those bolts out. And then just bend that so it goes on. And then bend this so it goes on. Ooh. I mean, if you know how to put all that on, you know how to put on a display, so I don't really have to explain this to you. The mode switch was just, you don't have to take the grip off for this. I'll run it under the Lewis and just put it right here. Don't have to make that too tight. I don't want to sit on it to feel it. Yeah, right there is good. And adjust the display to your liking. Brakes feel good now. Run the display wire. I'm gonna run mine through the frame just like this. Actually through the other side, not with the brake cable. But I'll put all the electrical connections this way. Find that display connector. Plug that in. And then I just pull it in and then shove the rest of the wires in there. Reverse switch, get that out, and then there is a 3-color connector. Is black, red, and white. That should be the throttle cable, so we need to find that. I think it's right here. Okay, hello. Pull that out too. Let's go get the throttle and the reverse switch. Now we have the reverse mode switch. It's nothing fancy, just a light switch converted and a surround throttle. The throttle, this slides on. Cable goes through here and connects with the 3-pin. Nothing special. This, I'll tell you about where I like to put the reverse switch and why I do that. Okay, I like to put the reverse switch, let's sit on the bike. I like to put the reverse switch on the right side of the display, like right there. Because I clip my CMX key on the mode switch cable, so I have quick access to it if I have to switch to street legal mode. I clip it right here, so if the reverse mode switch was here, it would repeatedly hit the reverse mode switch, right? And it would just send you in reverse when you're not noticing. So that's not good. Put this on here. Wire management is the same. You just pull it through this side, and then it should connect together. Oh yeah, we need to tighten the throttle too. Number 4 Allen key for the surround throttle. Kind of pull it out a little bit so you have a little more space for your brake. Now that we have all these electronics on here, I think it's a good time we at least test start the bike and see if you did anything wrong and it all works. Okay, so you plug the battery connectors together, and then these two, you're supposed to go back here, but I don't know why they're over there. Let's keep them. This is just like a temporary solution, so it's not permanent that they're just gonna hang out here, but I think this is not a bad position for the power switch and the charge port, right? So to put this in, bend the tip of the zip tie so it comes through here. Feed it, and then this one first, this one on the bottom. You kind of just zip tie them right here. Okay, now make sure battery is charged. It'll come charged from the factory, so you won't have to charge it, hopefully. Press that in so the battery's on. Make sure the battery is connected, and make sure your reverse switch is connected. Okay, battery is connected, throttle is connected, display is connected, and then you will now hold down the M and your bike should come on. Okay, so there's some settings you need to do. I'll put them up on the screen, but you hold up and down, and then you get all the P's and whatever. You get all these settings, but I've already done them on my bike. You just want to flip through the modes, and then put and then spin that. Why is this so untrue? Why is it so untrue? Now, if your bike works, then great. And we can turn it off and do the front brake now. And if your bike doesn't, just go through the checklist again, and then come back once your bike turns on. Flip it upside down again. Oh no. Oh yeah, make sure you're not setting your whole bike on the mode switch. Let's put on the SRAM Maven front brake. So in order to use a 180mm rotor on the front, you will need this special little spacer here. That one side is bigger and the other side is smaller. You'll be able to find it on Amazon. Okay. Not rub. That's perfect. Brakes are supposed to go through the inside, and then it'll go on this fork guard right here. Let's get a zip tie. Through the fork guard. Zip tie here so the tire doesn't rub on the brake line. And then, yeah, I think it's time to flip it over again. Since we've got the front brakes on, they're not rubbing anymore. It's time to flip it back over. The levers are the same on both sides, and the calipers don't matter, so it don't matter. So it's just really a matter of brake hose length and if you can fit these huge. These both have huge levers. If you can fit these huge levers on your handlebars, yeah, they'll go on basically any bike. Front brakes through this little thing right here. Forgot what it's called, but it's to guide the brake line. And then, oh, I forgot, I need to coil it up. The way I do it is I kind of just like, okay, front brakes on, SRAM Mavens. Got the SRAM and the Lewis. Okay. Zip tie that coil of wires. Let's finish managing the phase wire first. Let's start from the back and go to the front. Okay. So the phase wire is really too long to fit anywhere. So what I do, I think it looks cool too. I zip tie it. I tell it to come out here. I push it up so it goes up there. And then I zip tie it to the 73. Looks pretty good, right? And then this, I would just like coil it up and just shove it in there like. So the trick for threading a zip tie through this is to bend the tip. Zip tie that. Zip tie this. And motor cable back where it was. Battery cable back where it was. These cables I need to zip tie those. With the charge port and the power button coming through the back, so I want to zip tie them so they don't ever touch the tire. Okay. Just want to put some tension on it. Okay. Like, what would you do without a zip tie? What would you do? How? Okay. Then one more. Come on. Oh my god, I need more zip ties. Oh wait, this one. Ow. I just hit myself. Just gonna zip tie this little loop of the Lewis Tech with the rest. Then just slap a number plate on there. See all the mess. Okay guys, so basically my camera died and then I didn't even realize until like a long time later. But so after I put on the number plate, I took it off and put on a graphic that I forgot to show in the video. And then I put my headlight on also. And then I'm running this setup. If you see back here, I have this power bank that powers the headlight. Yeah, I'll release a guide on that soon. But it's like the only way to run a headlight for a long time on this thing. And also, I put on an unreleased key ignition. This basically, it just cuts the power to the bike. It turns on. And if you turn it, then it'll turn off. But if you do that, it does nothing. It just cuts the power. Okay? So, a couple important things I need to tell the owners of this kit is when charging your bike, okay, so you come home from a ride, and your bike is on, right? See, I was just charging, but I'm not full yet. What you want to do is, instead of turning the key or just holding M to turn the bike off, you want to come back here and you want to hit this switch and then wait for the voltage to drop. Because if you don't do that, then when you plug the battery in, it might spike because there's a bunch of it's not like the voltage is not like all the way dropped. I just want to show you guys how the street limiter worked. You get pulled over or whatever, you want to switch to street legal mode, you take this and you just point it at the controller and you basically spam it, because you have to get the signal across, right? You're supposed to hit the controller, but you might not get it like the first time. So I don't have an easy way to show you this, but here, I'll just do this. Now, as you can see, if I twist the throttle, it'll only go to like 15, 20, right? But if I do this, then it'll start going like 50. Okay? I didn't want to full throttle it because I'm doing this with one hand. But yeah, anyways, so if you're at this point in the video, you should have your bike fully built, or you're just watching it for fun. Thank you for watching, or thank you for purchasing. And if you want to leave a comment, leave a like. And if you have any questions on the kit, you can find me at the website, or you could just comment and I'll respond to you. Okay? Alright, hope you guys have a nice day, and bye-bye.